Welcome to the third of 5 mini podcasts for the summer from the team here at Digital DJ Tips, the world's leading online DJ school. I'm Phil Morse, the author of Rock The Dancefloor, the book that first broke this 5-step way of learning how to DJ, and also the tutor of the Complete DJ course, my school's flagship course on how to DJ. So the 5 steps on how to become a better DJ that we teach here at the school are gear, music, mixing, performing, and success. And this is all about the third one, mixing. So you could go back and listen to the other 2 at some point, but you don't really need to. They're not necessarily important to hear before this one. So keep listening while I'm going to share some tips and advice and thoughts on mixing that haven't been shared necessarily in the book or the course. You know, DJs make the mistake sometimes of practicing forever in their bedrooms, and there's absolutely no need to do so. And if you take one thing away from this mini podcast, it's that you are wasting an awful lot of time that you could be really improving fast in your DJing if you are sat behind a closed door at home practicing over and over and over again and attempting to emulate DJs who you admire before you even get out there and do it in front of other people or share a finished result with people. Because DJing is about doing, DJing is about delivering, DJ sets, DJ mixes, live streams, anything that can show that you can actually do this, however competent you happen to be, is better than not doing it at all. You're not going to play your best DJ set ever the first time you ever do this, or the second, or the 10th, or the 50th. By the 100th, you might be starting to get it. But unless you give yourself the chance to get out there and do it, and by getting out there, again, it doesn't have to be in public. It can be literally a live stream where your family and friends are watching, but no one else. It can be a DJ set that you commit to do for your partner in your living room. But unless you're delivering something regularly, you're falling into the trap of trying to be perfect when the best way to learn is to actually get out there and deliver an end product. So bear that in mind. So here's the 3 tips I have for you when it comes to mixing, and they're all based around this idea that you don't have to be perfect. Number 1, the biggest mistake DJs make when they are mixing is they don't get the volume right between the tracks that they're playing. If you get the volume right, in other words, if the volume stays nice and constant throughout your DJ set and doesn't drift up or drift down like sometimes children when they write, the writing goes up or down at the end of the line, doesn't it? Because they haven't learned to keep a nice straight line as they're filling the page. If you can learn to keep a nice straight volume line in a DJ set, trust me, you are ahead of so many DJs. It's something that doesn't take a lot of creativity and doesn't take a lot of practice. It just takes discipline. And the discipline is to keep an eye on your levels when you're preparing your music before you mix it in, and check the loudest part of every new song and make sure the levels on the loudest part of every new song are about the same height on the meters as they are on the currently playing song. Do that, and then you can be pretty sure that when you are DJing, overall, your volume will stay the same. Of course, as the songs move into quiet and loud segments, which often happen at the beginning and end when you're mixing, the volume will naturally dip and rise, but that's okay. It's the overall level we're looking for. If you were to load one of your DJ sets into an audio editor program and stand back and get the whole waveform of the whole DJ set on the screen at once, is it going up and down? Is it getting fatter and thinner as you mix in a new track and then another new track and another new track? Or is it staying nice and level? And that's actually something you can do to check this. It's a little secret weapon that means that if you get that right, you will be doing what pro DJs do instinctively and what a lot of amateur DJs don't get right maybe ever. So get the volume right. Number 2, it's okay that people know when you're mixing. We see so many DJs here at the school who are really scared stiff of the fact that they're DJing in the first place, and they do not want the crowd, whether the crowd is their partner or their family or their friends or the people at the venue that they're DJing at, they do not want the crowd looking at them as soon as they start to transition between songs. And this has a really bad effect for 2 reasons. Number 1, it means that they play very, very safe with the DJing they're doing. always playing a song next that sounds like the one they're currently playing so that they have a chance of people not realizing what's going on, or always doing next something they've practiced over and over again. This is not how DJing should be done, and this is a mistake, falling into the trap of playing something that's easy to mix rather than playing the right song to play next. But also, it's okay for people to watch you when you start to do something, and this feeling that it's not is the second trap here. If you look at any big DJs, there is a reaction when they mix something new in. There's a cheer. People look at them, and that's okay. And I want to go further than that and remind you that that's okay whether the transition you end up doing sounds really good or whether it's pretty abrupt and whether it could be better. People ultimately don't care so much about what you're doing as what the music's doing. So if you get the music right and you get the order right, then the mixing really doesn't matter. Trust me, it doesn't. Again, in the last podcast, I spoke about our tutor, Laidback Luke, who is a fantastic DJ. And Laidback Luke is a real fly-by-night. He DJs by the seat of his pants. Luke has this rule that he'll never play the same record after the same previous record twice. And he calls it the sandwich rule. So Luke, if he's played two songs that work well together, he'll take a third song and he'll sandwich it between them next time. So if he wants to make that transition again, it's not allowed to happen. He has to put something else in and then again and again in order to keep it fresh. Now, of course, if you're doing that, then sometimes the transitions might not be brilliant. So I said to Luke, do you mind? And he's like, no, I don't mind people knowing I'm DJing. This is what we do. We do things off the cuff and it doesn't always work. But that's okay. I don't mind that. And I think that's a refreshing approach to DJing. And I pushed Luke a bit further and he said, look, if it's working, I'll keep the transition going on for a long time. And if it's not working, I'll get out of there quick. What a refreshing way to look at your DJing. So point number 2, it's okay that people know when you're mixing. Don't avoid people spotting what you're doing by playing safe and only doing things that you've done before, or just by looking for stuff that isn't going to raise an eyebrow. Have a go, do it. People don't mind that you're DJing. They can see you're DJing. It's what they're expecting. And the third tip is there is no one right way to DJ. And I'm not talking about the gear you choose to DJ with. I'm not talking about, oh, well, you're not doing it this way or that way. That's got to be wrong. I'm talking about the actual act of DJing. I'm talking about the transitions. I'm talking about the mixing. There's a really big thing at the moment about what people call quick mixing, which is where you play 60, 90 seconds of a song, verse, chorus, or breakdown, drop, out of there. Same again, same again, same again. 30, 40 songs in an hour. Does that mean that every DJ set everywhere in the world at all times suddenly needs to be done like that? Of course it doesn't. Try doing that with 10-minute trance songs that take the audience on a journey to that kind of crowd. See how far that gets you. There's also a feeling that everything should be beat mixed. Kind of goes back to what I was saying in point 2, doesn't it? Well, try beat mixing 2-minute pop songs and see how long that lasts before you realise it's absolutely unnecessary. And then there's this whole idea of, well, you need to be very technically proficient. It'd be nice if you could scratch and so on. Try scratching if you're playing a Latin set, for instance. I'm just plucking out of the air examples here that there is no one size fits all when it comes to DJ. And even more fun, all of those things could be possible. Yes, you could be a scratching Latin DJ. Yes, you could be quick mixing with trance. And yes, you could be beat mixing pop music. There's DJs that do all of these things. So if there are DJs that break all the rules, then clearly the rules are there to be broken in the first place, and they maybe aren't that strong when it comes to rules. I remember once having a conversation about genres that don't get played in dance sets, and Avicii comes along and makes country music kind of work in a dance environment. And I saw David Guetta just recently talking about how his new song is doing the same thing, and he was saying, I've not seen anyone do this since Avicii. And I thought, hang on a second, what about Beyonce? Look, if country music can turn into dance music and can be mixed in all these kinds of different ways, then nothing is off the table and nothing is set in stone. So it really comes down to the audience, the time of day, how many people are there, the kind of music you're playing on, what's expected in your town or city, and all kinds of other things. So look, do what feels right, copy those around you by all means, and look at the venues and look at the crowds you play to and see what other people are doing. But there's no single right way to DJ. So don't think that you have to perfect a particular method of DJing before you get out there and do it. DJing is something that is done in public, or at the very least, DJing is something that involves you delivering an end product, whether that is a mixtape, whether that is a live stream, whether that is indeed DJing in front of other people. So make sure you're constantly doing that and don't get hung up thinking you have to do it to a certain level of proficiency or in a certain way. As long as you get the volume right and as long as you get from one song to another, it's fine. People will forgive anything and there is no right way of DJing. And if other DJs are having a go at you, if other DJs are hanging around and tutting at what you're doing, firstly, they're very rude because they're interrupting a performer, which is a no-no. But secondly, the only reason they're doing it is because they're jealous and they would rather be you with that chance to be playing those tunes. So always remember that. Oh, and one final tip. If you really want to know what you sound like when you DJ, record your set. Because there's only one person in the world that doesn't know what you really sound like. And that's you, because you're too busy doing it. Everyone else hears it how it really is, but you don't. Trust me on that. Record your set, have a listen back the next day. You'll spot things that worked that you didn't think did, and you'll spot things that you were maybe proud of that actually might have needed a little bit more work. So record your sets, listen back to them, and try not to overthink it. DJing is about playing other people's music and keeping it going without gaps. Try and remember that. So this has been the third of our 5 mini podcast series for the summer here at Digital DJ Tips, where we've talked about mixing. We've already talked about gear and music in numbers 1 and 2. For 4 and 5, I'm going to move on and give you some extra tips over and on top of what's in our book, Rock the Dancefloor, and in our course, the all-new Complete DJ course, about performing and succeeding as a DJ. So until then, get good, get out there, make the moments. Do subscribe to this podcast if you are not already a subscriber, and please give us a 5-star rating or review on your channel if you've enjoyed it. It really does help us. Bye for now.